The world watched with bated breath as President Donald Trump stood before the cameras in the White House, the air thick with anticipation and uncertainty. Flanked by his top national security team, their faces grave and determined, he prepared to deliver a message that would reverberate around the globe. On June 21, 2025, he announced that the United States had just conducted a series of coordinated military strikes against Iran, a move that stunned both allies and adversaries alike. He called the operation a spectacular military success, declaring Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities completely obliterated. The images of destruction left little doubt about the scale of the attack. The message was unmistakable. America would wield overwhelming power to achieve its objectives, acting decisively and, if necessary, alone on the world stage. For supporters, it was a moment of triumph, a validation of strength and resolve that they had long championed. For critics, however, it was a terrifying escalation, a step into the unknown that risked igniting a much larger conflict. The address was broadcast live across continents, leaving global leaders scrambling to understand the full implications and to formulate their responses. Trump's speech was short on specifics but long on bravado, painting a picture of a new world order shaped by American willpower and his own vision. As the press conference ended, the world was left with more questions than answers, uncertainty hanging in the air like a storm cloud. This was the culmination of years of escalating tensions, failed negotiations, and broken international agreements that had steadily eroded trust. Now, rhetoric had become reality, and the world was forced to confront the consequences of words turned into action. The strikes were not just military, they were a statement of intent, a bold declaration that the rules of engagement had changed. The world was now on a new, uncertain path, charted by the singular vision and unpredictable leadership of the man in the Oval Office. The shock was immediate. The consequences, unknown. The world could only wait, watching as history unfolded in real time. In the pre-dawn hours, under a cloak of secrecy, American and Israeli forces executed a series of highly coordinated airstrikes on Iran's Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan nuclear sites. The world was still asleep as the first bombs fell, but the impact would soon ripple across continents. These were not just facilities, they were symbols of Iran's national pride, representing decades of scientific ambition and national resilience. Their destruction sent shockwaves through the Iranian public and leadership alike. The operation marked the first direct U.S. engagement in the escalating Israel-Iran conflict, a move that signaled a dramatic shift in the region's balance of power and drew the eyes of the world to the Middle East. Weeks of secret planning led to a massive surge of U.S. firepower in the region, advanced jets, powerful naval groups, and over 40,000 troops deployed with precision. Every detail was meticulously orchestrated to ensure overwhelming force. Fordo, buried 300 feet under solid rock, was the primary target. Its formidable defenses required a weapon only the U.S. possessed, one designed to penetrate deep and destroy what lay hidden. The goal was clear: to prove that no target, no matter how fortified or remote, was beyond American reach or capability. Natanz and Esfahan, both central to Iran's uranium enrichment program, were also struck with precision-guided munitions. The strikes were calculated to cripple Iran's nuclear ambitions in a single night. The attack aimed to dismantle Iran's nuclear infrastructure while minimizing collateral damage to civilians and surrounding areas, a delicate balance in the fog of war. But in the chaos of war, the line between surgical and widespread destruction blurred. Fires raged, and panic swept through nearby towns as the reality of the assault set in. The world would soon see the true extent of the damage, as news spread rapidly and leaders scrambled to respond to the unfolding crisis. The earth shook, and so did the global order, as nations braced for the unpredictable consequences of a single, fateful night. To destroy Fordo, the U.S. used the GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator, a 30,000-pound bunker buster. Only the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber could deliver it, combining stealth and raw destructive power. The MOP is designed to penetrate deep underground before detonating, collapsing even the most fortified facilities. No other nation has this capability. The strike on Fordo was a man-made earthquake, both physically and psychologically. President Trump boasted, "No bomb does what this is doing." And for once it wasn't just bluster. The message: there is no place to hide from American power. The attack wasn't just about destroying centrifuges, it was about destroying the idea that Iran's nuclear program was untouchable. The use of the bunker buster changed the strategic calculus for everyone. The US had shown it would use its most extreme conventional weapons to enforce its will. The world took notice. After the strikes, a new battle began, the fight for the narrative. President Trump claimed total victory, calling Iran's nuclear program obliterated. Iran's Supreme Leader Khamenei dismissed the attack as desperate and ineffective, vowing resilience. But days later, Iran's foreign minister admitted serious damage to nuclear sites, a major shift. The truth lay between American triumphalism and Iranian denial. Conflicting statements fueled confusion and global uncertainty. Trump announced talks with Iran would resume. Iran denied it. Hints at lifting sanctions were quickly reversed after more defiant rhetoric. The diplomatic back and forth revealed deep mistrust and a lack of real communication. Every statement was a strategic move, shaping global opinion as much as reality. The war of words became as important as the war itself. Perception was now a weapon. As politicians argued, satellite imagery revealed the truth. Images of Isfahan showed widespread destruction, craters, ruined buildings, and smoke. The photos supported US claims of a successful strike, contradicting Iran's denials. Analysts identified key facilities hit, confirming the precision and scale of the attack. Satellite images cut through the fog of war, offering undeniable evidence. But the full extent of damage at Fordo, buried deep underground, remained uncertain. Both sides clung to their narratives, as the truth was literally buried. Visual evidence became a key tool for news organizations and international bodies. The pictures didn't tell the whole story. They couldn't show the human cost or long-term impact. But they proved a major military event had occurred. The reality of rubble and craters grounded the soaring rhetoric. The world saw the aftermath, even if the future remained unclear. The airstrikes marked the dramatic climax of years of mounting hostility and tension between the US, Israel, and Iran. What unfolded was not a sudden eruption, but the result of a long, winding road paved with mistrust, failed diplomacy, and escalating threats. The roots of this crisis lay in America's withdrawal from the Iran nuclear deal, a move that shattered years of painstaking negotiations. The subsequent maximum pressure campaign only deepened the divide, fueling anger and suspicion on both sides. Instead of forcing Iran back to the table, these actions triggered a relentless cycle of provocation and retaliation, with each side hardening its stance and preparing for the worst. In early June, Israel escalated matters further by launching daring attacks on Iranian nuclear sites, killing key scientists and commanders, and sending shockwaves through the region. Iran responded swiftly and forcefully, unleashing missile and drone barrages against Israeli targets. The conflict, once simmering, now boiled over into open confrontation. The entire region became a tinderbox, with each side feeling compelled to answer the other's attacks. Fear and uncertainty gripped civilians and soldiers alike. The US, watching its closest ally come under fire, faced a critical decision. Should it stand by or intervene decisively to alter the course of events? The Trump administration chose to act, launching a series of strikes intended to deliver a knockout blow to Iran's nuclear capabilities and shift the balance of power. These strikes were framed as a way to de-escalate the crisis by removing the primary source of conflict. But the reality on the ground was far more complex. Instead, the spiral of violence threatened to engulf the entire region, drawing in neighboring countries and putting millions of lives at risk. The decision set the stage for a new era of uncertainty, where the consequences of each action would ripple far beyond the battlefield. Beyond strategy and headlines, the conflict's human cost was devastating. Iran reported over 600 killed in 12 days of attacks. Israel, 28 dead from Iranian retaliation. Each number was a shattered family, a life lost to escalating violence. At home, Trump's decision to strike without congressional approval ignited political outrage. Critics called it a violation of the Constitution and a dangerous precedent. America's allies were unsettled by the unilateral action, fearing regional destabilization. Israel and Gulf partners, however, welcomed the intervention. Conflicting intelligence reports fueled controversy. Was Iran really on the brink of a bomb? Trump contradicted his own intelligence chief, raising questions about the true threat. The uncertainty undermined the administration's case and deepened the debate. The world was left divided, anxious, and searching for answers. In the end, the story became less about bombs and more about Donald Trump. His unpredictable, personal style of foreign policy dominated the global conversation. He threatened more strikes, boasted about sparing Iran's supreme leader, and kept allies and adversaries guessing. The Trump doctrine was bold, contradictory, and intensely personal, turning diplomacy into a high-stakes poker game. The focus shifted from Iran's nuclear program to the question, what will Trump do next? Power became personalized, with decisions hinging on one man's instincts. Iran's facilities were damaged, but the knowledge remained. The region was more tense than ever, peace more distant. The bombs changed the landscape, but Trump's words may have changed the world even more. In this new reality, the most powerful weapon may not be a bomb, but the unpredictable will of the man who can launch it.